These days, walk into any gun shop and you'll see wall-to-wall semi-autos, polymer frames, striker-fired triggers, optics-ready slides, all the tactical bells and whistles. And don't get me wrong, some of them are great guns. But somewhere along the line, folks started acting like revolvers were relics, museum pieces meant for old cowboys or dusty nightstands. Let me tell you right now, that's a mistake. Because when it comes to reliability, power, and dead simple operation, a good wheelgun still punches way above its weight class. No mag to fail, no slide to jam, no safety lever to fumble, just load the cylinder, close it, and it's ready to rock. I've trained shooters in everything from urban defense to wilderness survival. And I can tell you, when the pressure's on, fewer moving parts and a heavier trigger are blessings, not drawbacks. I've watched modern semi-autos choke on cheap ammo, jam from limp grips, or get finicky in rain and grit. Meanwhile, my old Smith & Wesson has been dropped, dunked, and dragged through the woods, and it still goes bang every time I pull the trigger. There's something refreshing about that kind of mechanical honesty. So yeah, the world may be gushing over red dots and modularity, but there's a reason I still carry a revolver. In this video, I'm laying out 10 solid reasons why this old-school tool still earns its place on your hip, in your safe, or by your bed. Let's get into it. Training and simplicity for beginners. If you're new to shooting, a revolver is like the friend who keeps things simple and has your back. Unlike semi-autos, which can feel like a puzzle with their slides and magazines, revolvers are straightforward. They've got fewer parts, so there's less that can go wrong. Perfect for someone just starting out. Loading a revolver? Easy peasy. Pop open the cylinder, drop in your rounds, snap it shut, and you're good to go. Compare that to a semi-auto, where you're juggling a magazine, shoving it in just right, and racking the slide. Under pressure, that's a lot to handle. Plus, most revolvers don't have a safety switch to mess with, so you're not fumbling when it counts. The trigger on a revolver is heavier, especially in double action mode, which means you've got to mean it when you pull. That's great for building good habits and avoiding accidents. It lets you focus on the basics, how you hold it, aim, and squeeze, without worrying about extra bells and whistles. I've seen new shooters light up when they get their hands on a revolver. It's simple, so they can nail down the fundamentals fast and feel confident. For beginners, a revolver's like training wheels that actually work. Nostalgia and aesthetics. As someone who's spent years around firearms, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the feel of a revolver in your hand. It's like gripping a piece of history. Revolvers carry a nostalgia that semi-autos just can't touch. Picture the Colt single-action army, the peacemaker that tamed the Wild West, or the Smith & Wesson Model 29, forever immortalized by Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry. These aren't just guns, they're icons, woven into the fabric of American culture. From cowboy legends to gritty action movies, that kind of legacy hits different. The aesthetics of a revolver are in a league of their own. There's something about the smooth curves of the cylinder, the gleam of polished steel, or the warmth of a well-worn walnut grip that feels alive. Unlike the utilitarian, boxy look of most semi-autos, think Glocks or SIGs, a revolver has personality. It's not just a tool, it's a work of art, crafted with care and built to last. Whether it's a blued finish that catches the light or an engraved frame that tells a story, revolvers demand attention. Carrying a revolver is a statement. It says you value tradition, craftsmanship, and a connection to the past. Sure, a semi-auto might be practical, but it's got no soul compared to a .357 Magnum with a history. At the range, a revolver draws eyes and sparks conversations. People notice the classic lines and want to hear its story. For shooters who care about more than just function, a revolver's nostalgic charm and timeless beauty make it the clear choice over a semi-auto's cold efficiency. Versatility. After years on the range, in the woods, and teaching folks the ins and outs of shooting, there's one thing I keep coming back to. Revolvers are ridiculously versatile. I'm talking about the kind of adaptability that puts semi-autos to shame. Sure, autos have their place. But when it comes to sheer flexibility, nothing beats a good wheelgun. Let's take the classic .357 Magnum revolver. It doesn't just shoot those powerhouse rounds that'll wake up the neighbors. It also handles .38 special like a champ. That gives you a high-powered option for defense or hunting, and a softer, more manageable round for target practice or recoil-sensitive shooters, all in the same firearm. But it doesn't stop there. Load up some shot shells, aka snake shot, and now you've got a solid tool for taking care of critters on the trail. I've hiked with a revolver in the holster, rounds mixed between shot, hollow points, and standard FMJs, one cylinder, multiple rolls. Try doing that with your striker-fired 9mm. It's just not happening. Semi-autos lock you into one caliber per mag, and even swapping ammo types means a full mag swap or dealing with malfunctions if you try to mix. With a revolver, each chamber is its own story. You can literally tailor your loadout for the mission ahead without switching guns or carrying extra gear. Concealment carrying concealed is second nature at this point. And when I want something that stays out of sight and out of mind, I go straight for a revolver. The compact, snag-free design, like what you get with a snub-nose Ruger LCR, makes these things vanish into a waistband or jacket pocket like they were built for stealth missions. Compared to a semi-auto with its squared-off slide, extended mag base, and all those hard angles, a revolver is like slipping a smooth river stone into your holster. I've worn a lightweight .38 all day long, even while doing chores, and totally forgot it was there. That's not happening with a beefy polymer semi-auto that feels like you're hauling a brick around. Drawing is cleaner too. No sharp corners to snag. No external levers to trip over. Just grip it and rip it. When seconds matter, that smooth, uninterrupted motion could make all the difference. And let's talk close quarters. If things get up close and ugly, a revolver doesn't care. You can press it right up against an attacker and still get that shot off. A semi-auto might fail if the slide can't cycle, leaving you with a dead trigger at the worst possible time. I've trained folks who were hesitant about carrying until they tried tucking a revolver on their ankle or waistband. That wow, it just disappears moment is real. Revolvers don't just ride lighter, they carry smarter. When the goal is to stay armed without broadcasting it to the world, these little wheelguns are in a league of their own. Safety. When you've spent enough time training folks under pressure, simulated break-ins, low-light drills, full-on adrenal dump scenarios, you start to realize how much safety really comes down to simplicity. And that's where revolvers shine. There's no manual safety lever to forget. No extra step to trip you up when your hands are trembling and your brain's racing to keep up. With most revolvers, you just draw and squeeze. That's it. One less thing to worry about when seconds feel like hours. The double-action trigger is another unsung hero. That long, deliberate 8 to 12-pound pull isn't a bug. It's a feature. It acts like a natural safety, making accidental discharges far less likely. I've seen new shooters on the range panic and slap the trigger on a semi-auto with a hair trigger. You don't get that with a revolver. You have to mean it, and that's a good thing when the stress is high and judgment can slip. Even if you thumb the hammer for single action, it's a conscious move. Nothing happens by accident. You're in charge every step of the way. That kind of mechanical honesty, where the gun only goes bang if you really want it to, is what makes revolvers such smart choices for both carry and home defense. In a moment where your heart's pounding and there's no time for complicated decisions, a revolver gives you a clean, direct path to action, safe, intuitive, and dead simple, just the way it should be when everything's on the line. Reason 5. Accuracy. I've burned through more ammo at the range than I care to admit. And one thing's always stood out. Revolvers are laser-precise machines when it comes to hitting what you're aiming at. The secret? That glorious fixed barrel. Unlike semi-autos where the barrel moves with the slide every time you fire, a revolver's barrel stays rock solid. No shifting, no wiggle, just consistent alignment shot after shot. That stability translates directly into better accuracy, especially when you're stretching out past belly button distance. Single action mode takes it up a notch, cock the hammer, and you're looking at a featherlight 2 to 3 pound trigger pull that breaks clean and crisp. It's like a sniper rifle in your hand. I've taken bone stock .38 specials and stacked holes on top of each other at 20 yards. Meanwhile, my buddies with their high-speed, red dot-equipped semi-autos were chasing their groups. There's just something about a revolver that rewards good fundamentals. Now, yeah, double action takes more effort. That heavier pull isn't doing you any favors at first. But with some trigger discipline and dry fire practice, you start to feel the rhythm. The mechanics are predictable and consistent, and that's the key. No spongy breaks, no surprise resets, just you, the iron sights, and a system that doesn't get in its own way. If you love seeing tight groups on paper, or you just want to know that when it counts, your shot will go exactly where it's supposed to, a revolver gives you that confidence. It's old-school precision that still holds its own in a modern world. Power. Let's talk brute force, because when it comes to raw stopping power, revolvers don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk with steel-toed boots. I've shot just about every common caliber out there, and nothing punches like a magnum round out of a revolver. A .357 Magnum? That's a fire-breathing classic. Step it up to a .44 Magnum, and now you're throwing hammers, not bullets. These rounds hit with authority, more than most semi-auto platforms can even handle without getting finicky or downright punishing. I've met hunters who carry nothing but a 6-shot .44 when venturing into bear country, and they sleep just fine at night. I've carried one myself on solo treks, and let me tell you, the peace of mind that comes from having that kind of firepower on your hip is real. Semi-autos might pack more rounds, sure, but most top out at calibers like 9mm or .45 ACP. Respectable? Absolutely. But they don't deliver the same bone-cracking energy you get from magnums. And here's the kicker. Revolvers are built for this kind of muscle. Their frames are overbuilt, cylinders locked up tight, and there's no slide to absorb or malfunction under the pressure of a hot load. You can run the nastiest, high-pressure rounds all day, and that revolver will just keep barking. When the stakes are high and you might only get one chance to make it count, be it in a home defense scenario or staring down something with claws, a revolver's raw, unfiltered power is the edge you want. It's not about spray and pray. It's about delivering one decisive shot that ends the conversation. Low maintenance. If you're the type who'd rather spend time sending rounds downrange than hunched over a cleaning mat with Q-tips and CLP, revolvers are your kind of trouble-free companion. After years of tearing down firearms and wrenching on just about everything with a trigger, I can confidently say revolvers are the low-maintenance champs. Their design is beautifully simple. No recoil springs to wear out, no mags to tune, no slides to strip. Just a solid frame, a trusty cylinder, and a trigger that keeps on trucking. I've dusted off revolvers that sat in safes for over a decade, slapped in some ammo, and boom, flawless function like it hadn't missed a beat. Try doing that with your average semi-auto. Those things can get downright moody. One speck of grime, a tired extractor spring, or a dirty feed ramp, and suddenly you're clearing jams instead of making hits. Cleaning a revolver is about as close to wipe it and ride as you'll find in the gun world. A quick brush through the bore, some lube in the cylinder notches, and you're good to go. No disassembly puzzles or chasing tiny springs across the garage floor. After a muddy day at the range or a long weekend out in the field, that ease of upkeep is a blessing, not just for convenience, but for reliability. If you want a sidearm that doesn't demand a spa day every time you shoot it, revolvers keep things simple. Load it, shoot it, give it a quick once-over, and it'll be ready for next time. No drama, no downtime. Ease of use. When everything goes sideways, your heart's pounding, adrenaline's dumping, and your hands feel like they've been replaced by oven mitts, simple isn't just helpful, it's survival level important. That's where the revolver absolutely crushes the competition. I've trained brand new shooters, battle-hardened vets, and everyone in between, and I can tell you this. Under real pressure, the human brain loves straightforward tools. And revolvers? They're about as foolproof as it gets. You don't have to rack a slide, chamber a round, or worry about if your magazine's seated right. You just load up the cylinder, close it, and it's game on. I've seen seasoned shooters completely freeze up during force-on-force drills after a stovepipe or failure to feed in their semi-auto. It's not because they don't know what to do. It's because fine motor skills and complicated procedures fly out the window under stress. Revolvers strip all of that away. They don't care about your grip strength. They don't jam if you limp wrist. And they don't need a perfect sight picture to function. Wet hands, gloves, rain, mud, it just doesn't matter. Pull the trigger and it works. That makes revolvers a godsend not just for high-stress defensive situations, but also for first-time shooters, older folks with limited dexterity, or anyone who doesn't want to turn range day into a mechanics course. I've handed a revolver to someone who's never shot a gun in their life, given them 2 minutes of instruction, and watched them shoot confidently. No confusion, no frustration, just straightforward function. In the heat of the moment, it's not about fancy optics, modular grips, or speed reloads. It's about having a gun that works every single time. No questions asked. A revolver gives you that reliability with a user experience so intuitive, it's practically fire and forget. When simplicity equals survival, the wheelgun wins every time. Reliability. If there's one hill I'm willing to die on in the gun world, it's this. Nothing, and I mean nothing, beats a revolver for reliability. I've put thousands of rounds through dozens of platforms over the years, and no matter how flashy or tactical a semi-auto is, they all have one thing in common. They can fail. Magazines can misfeed, slides can jam, springs can weaken. But a revolver? It just keeps spinning and sending lead down range. Revolvers operate on a dead simple mechanical system with very few moving parts. No mags to load, no slide to rack, no feed ramps to polish. You pull the trigger, and the cylinder rotates. Click, boom, repeat. I've taken a beat-up Smith & Wesson 38 through mud, dust, and even snow on a backwoods hunt, and it still ran like it just left the factory. One time, I dropped it straight into a puddle and shot it right after. No wipe down, no field strip. It didn't care, just kept barking. And when a semi-auto stumbles, maybe from cheap steel case ammo, limp wristing, or gunk in the works, you're suddenly performing malfunction drills under stress. Not ideal when your life's on the line. With a revolver, if a round doesn't fire, you just pull the trigger again. No jam to clear, no tap rack dance. It skips to the next chamber like nothing happened. That kind of fail-safe performance is priceless in self-defense or survival scenarios where you don't get a second chance. When it all goes south, you need a sidearm that's as tough and dependable as you are, or tougher. A revolver isn't just reliable, it's rock-solid peace of mind. Pull the trigger, and it works. Every time. That's not just confidence, that's a lifeline. At the end of the day, revolvers prove that simple doesn't mean outdated. It means dependable, powerful, and built for real-world use. Whether you're carrying for defense, hitting the backcountry, or just want a gun that won't quit when it counts, a wheelgun still gets the job done and looks damn good doing it. So what's your take? Are you team revolver or still riding the semi-auto wave? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. And don't forget to subscribe for more no-nonsense gun talk. Stay sharp, stay safe. Until next time, lock and load.